Welcome back. You're watching Informed Investor. This week we're in Pune at the campus of Bajaj Auto. With us Mr. Krishna Kumar Karwa and Harshvardhan Rupta answering a lot of questions. So let's get to it right away. We have our first question that's ready. Go ahead, sir. What's your question?
I want to know the strategy to investment in equity sector-wise and how to spot the growing sector.
Economies go through cycles, and at various points of time there will be sectors which will be in flavor and which will not be in flavor. But having said that, there are some sectors which inherently throw up a lot of cash flows for the companies which are in those sectors. So if you look at FMCG companies, now that's a sector which is a kind of perennial at one level, and most of the companies, because of the power of their brand, etc., throw a huge amount of cash flows and pay huge dividends. So from a longer term perspective, if you are invested in a sector like FMCG sector, you will possibly see hardly any dilutions and probably more of bonuses and dividends, etc. Similarly, you could see many of the pharmaceutical companies. Again, that is a sector which is more consistent in terms of growth. Currently, the need of the hour for a country like India is infrastructure. So from a top-down basis, the sector looks very, very interesting. But the challenge in this sector is that companies in this sector continuously require huge amounts of debt and equity infusions. So from a sector perspective, the sector looks very exciting. But from an equity investor perspective, will it continue to give you good returns over a longer period of time? The answer could be yes, the answer could be no. So it's very, taking sectoral calls requires a lot of sophistication. So we always try to advise our investors is that instead of trying to figure out which sectors to be in at any point of time, it's better to be reasonably well diversified across sectors so that over a period of time your portfolio gives you very good returns. Thank you.
All right, I hope that answers your question. We have time for one more question.
After going through all this discussion, one question comes to my mind: how to select a good advisor who will give me good returns?
There are two kinds of advisors in the market available today. One who represents the manufacturer. Okay, there is one who calls himself an advisor, and he's actually getting paid by the company in which you're going to be investing. Okay, so there is a term which is he's an agent broker of that company, and he is selling a product of that company to fit into your scheme of things. He's being remunerated by the manufacturer. Now there is another set of advisors who are independent, okay, who charge you a fee, okay, and recommend products to you. Now, having been into corporate world, you would certainly know who's going to work in your favor. Okay, so if there is somebody who's going to charge you a fee, he's going to talk about your interests. If a person is going to be paid through some other sources, he's going to be talking about their interest. So be open to the idea of paying for what you get. Okay, you want good advice, be open to paying for that advice, and person will surely think in your favor. So that's one criteria. You have to identify whether he is associated with some other company or he is going to be charging you for his remuneration.
All right, so I hope that answers your question, and I hope that you're now on your way to being informed investors. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for having us over. Thank you so much, Mr. Karwa, Harshvardhan. A pleasure having you on the show, and thanks for your interest in investor education. But here's where we need to wrap up then. We'll see you here next weekend, but do remember to keep sending us your questions and comments. And if you'd like to invite us to your corporate campus, you can also write into us. We'll see you here next weekend. Bye-bye.